Hello everyone and welcome to my video. Today I'm joined by an amazing social media queen who graced our screens on Drag Race Holland Season 2. I'm very excited for you all to hear about her journey into drag, what she's been up to since Drag Race and what she's going to be doing in the future. We'll of course be talking all things Drag Race, spilling some tea, and I'll also be putting questions that my subscribers asked to her. Please join me in welcoming the incredible Juicy Kutoure.
Bonjour, bonjour, it's Juicy Kutoure. What an introduction, by the way. I've never been introduced like that. I was like,
yeah, you could get used to it.
Yeah, I can really easily get used to this, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I loved you on Drag Race, so I thought, I have to get you a good introduction.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Looking stunning today.
Thank you. A little rhinestone moment.
Yeah, as always, looking very gorgeous. So I think I'm sure my subscribers will be very, very, interested to hear all about you and everything. So I'd like to obviously start off by going back to the beginning. Obviously, so your real name is Michelle Bronx.
Yes.
Which is already a great drag name, by the way.
Oh, you think so? Thank you. I feel very irregular.
No, I think it's a great name. And so going back to sort of how you got started in drag, can you sort of tell me a little bit about it? I heard that you started drag during lockdown.
Yeah, like me and my best friend, I live together with her now. We were quite bored a bit and she bought like a camera. And we were like, let's just make like funny YouTube videos. And she was like, let's try drag makeup. And I was like, oh yeah, I always like wanted to try that out, but I never like really took the time for it. I loved going to drag shows but I never thought of doing it myself. So we did the makeup and I looked at myself and I was like, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but this looks way too good to just do it once. So that's how I started.
Well, you've obviously got, the cheekbones, the structure and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what led you to an audition for Drag Race? Because you're obviously a social media queen. I assume you hadn't really been doing it for very long. So what sort of led you to auditioning?
Well, the funny thing is I was laying in my bed and then I saw like Fred, posted like, hi, we're doing a new season. And I was off I had a day off the next day. And I was like, let me just, give it a whirl, see how it goes. And, let's just see how it goes. So I made a video the next day and I sent it. And the same day I got, I think like a text back like, hi, can you send us more? And I was glad that I didn't send them everything so I could send them more because I was like, oh my god, I don't have that much to show. So I was very happy that I was able to send them more and more. And then everything went really well, actually.
That's amazing. I mean, the fact that you have been doing it very long and you got on, the Olympics of drag, as they call it, that's incredible.
I'd have to say I was quite surprised myself as well, especially when I did the audition in real life, I wasn't nervous at all. And I felt really good about my audition. And I even remember leaving and I was like, well, I'm always very honest with myself. If something is not good, it's not good. But I was like, my audition went pretty well, I feel like. So it was like, even when I don't make the cut, I can still be proud of the audition that I did because I thought I did a good job. And I was like, I didn't expect that, but okay.
You obviously were just so stunning. They were like, we need to have her on.
Obviously, yeah.
And so talk me through. So obviously you arrive day one, you walk through the door, you do your introduction and everything, and then you turn and there were already two queens in the room. Did you know any of the queens from before?
Yes, very well, actually. My drag mom is Abby. And Reggie is her drag daughter, and Ivy is her drag sister. And I've met both of them before the show, and I was already, in contact with them before the show. So it was a bit comforting for me to walk into a workroom and they're being two girls that I had already knew.
And did you know any of the other queens that, obviously the whole cast?
I've known the entire cast. but there were some people that I didn't met before Drag Race, such as Puni, Keita, Vanessa, and I think for the rest, I think I've met everyone before. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was wondering, obviously, Holland is relatively small, I guess. So I suppose the drag.
Very small. Keep the relatively away.
So I guess yeah, everyone kind of knows each other, I assume. But it's nice to know that you had someone, or at least multiple people you knew going into it.
Yeah.
So you said obviously, so your drag mother is Miss Abby. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And also Megan Schornbrugh.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, and obviously they were on season 1. So did they sort of give you any hints or tips about when you were doing your audition?
My audition I actually did pretty much on myself. I was like, I want to be like the first queen to like send my audition tape and have like a very well done audition tape. I don't have my audition tape anymore, but it was, if I say so myself, really professionally done. Like I was shook about the results. So I didn't like turn for advice to them, but for the rest, like outfits and everything, like I sent everything to them and asked their opinion. And also some general advice, but the main thing is that you just really don't have to give a fuck and rock it.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. And so also, I guess if Reggie B also her drag mother is Miss Abby, oh my God, does that mean that you are drag daughters together? I guess.
Yes. Yes.
And then so then what would Ivy be? Your auntie, I guess.
Yeah, I sometimes call her Ivy Auntie.
Oh wow, that's
Auntie
cool.
Ivy, one way or the other.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, so what does a drag mother mean to you? So you've got 2 drag mothers. What does that actually mean?
It's kind of weird because like for like 50%, someone really feels like your guidance, like your mother figure in drag, like helping you out, making sure that you're okay, that you're looking good, feeling good. But on the other hand, besides that, you share a friendship as well. So it's, if you don't have a drag mom, I really don't think that you like know what it's like having one, but it's really fun, really fun. It's like having being a best friend, but also like it's just different. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, that's fair enough. So obviously, so you walk in to the workroom and everything. And had you ever been on camera before or worked in, television in any way?
Yeah, besides drag, I worked as a makeup artist. I've worked behind the scenes, behind the cameras, but I've also done some things on TV before, but never in drag, of course.
Right. Okay. So were you nervous, or were you sort of, how are you feeling about it?
Well, the funny thing was during my audition, I was nervous. With my audition tape, I wasn't nervous, but as soon, like not even as soon as I walked in, but as soon as they like picked me up from home, like they pick you up from home and they put you in like this empty room and they like with no one else, and they let me stay for like such a long time, and I was like sitting there. I had no phone. My phone was already taken by production, and I just sat there for like maybe it was 20 minutes, maybe it could be an hour, I don't know. And eventually, like they call your name and they lead you to the set. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was so nervous. Like I couldn't even like exist properly.
I can imagine it must be crazy being on such a massive show and yourself.
Yes.
Not had a huge amount of experience and everything. That's really brave to do that. I mean, that's yeah.
Thank you.
And so, obviously you walk in and you see at least 2 people that you knew. Did you already know anyone who was going to be on, or was it all completely secret? You didn't know anyone?
It was a bit of a easy guess because I feel like I'm not going to say the Dutch drag scene is small, but it sounds a little bit shady, but the queens that have like, a bit of quality, that circle for me, I feel like is very small. So especially when I saw season 1, it was just like tuck tuck tuck. Okay, so they weren't in season 1, ta ta ta. They are going to be in season 2. You know, it was a bit of a 1+1 is 2 for me, but I still didn't really think about who was gonna be in it or not. I was just like, you know, I'm gonna need all my time to get my outfits ready, to get everything ready. So I don't have the time to, you know, guess about who's in or not. I was like, I'll just see it there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, I suppose.
It's like I'm already in anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So one thing I thought was really interesting, because I rewatched, you know, the episodes the other day. When you first walked in, Ivy said,
had ik nog wel misschien 2 jaartjes gewacht, want dan was je helemaal ready.
Did you feel that way, or do you agree with that?
To a certain point, I do agree with that, because I was surprised I was in 2. Like, even I was like, oh my God, I'm in. But, you know, as soon as they said like, oh, you're in the show, like, what are you going to say? Oh, wow, I did not expect that. No, I'll think I'll wait a few years, you know. That was not, you know, my idea. I did the audition really spontaneous, and I was just, you know, lucky enough to get in. So, but yeah, was she wrong? No.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I wasn't, you know, because obviously in the show they try and make everything look really shady and everything, but I kind of thought, well, you knew she's your auntie, so it's probably just like whatever.
Yeah. Ivy actually was really the one to comfort me and to really check if I was okay the entire time. You know, sometimes production will tell you to be like, oh, can you, you know, make it a bit more shady? Can you, you know, adjust it a little bit? But to a certain point, I really didn't feel like she was being mean to me at all, you know? And I also felt like a lot of queens just felt the pressure of like being, you know, that bitch or having, you know, the right attitude. So I think everyone on screen was, you know, trying their best, you know, to, you know, come off like as marvelous as possible. And I was literally like, oh, okay, how are you? Yeah.
No, when I was watching the episode, I thought they showed you a lot during that episode, and they kept cutting to your confessional. I think you were shown more than pretty much anyone else in that episode.
The whole episode was about me. Yeah, it was a juicy episode for sure, which isn't a good sign, but at least I got my screen time.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that was sort of because you went home, obviously? Do you think that's why they made it about you, or were you surprised by that?
No, of course. And also, I'd have to say, like, the production team and everyone was like so kind and so lovely to me that I really felt like maybe they were like, let's give her like some good showtime that first episode, because, you know, she deserves it.
No, you do, definitely. So obviously your first challenge was the talent show. How did that feel, filming that? Because I think you were shown on TV. I think you were relatively near the beginning, but is that how it actually happened?
No, I was actually, I have to say, quite pissed off, because I told them on hand, like, I was gonna be like very nervous. You know, I've never ever performed as a drag queen before. And also, what was funny was I was picked up really early in the morning, like really early. Like I did my makeup at 4 a.m. Like, yeah, and I had to pack my bags to do everything, and I think I was being picked up at maybe like 7 or 8 a.m. or something, if I remember well. Then they let me like sit into that room without any phone or anything. Then I had to walk into the workroom. Like I had like a headache. I was so exhausted because of like all the pressure and impressions of everyone. And in the episode, they made it seem like the talent show was the next day. But what they actually made us do is take off our makeup, take like a small break, and then we had to put our makeup back on, pretend like it was the next day for the talent show. So it was a long day. And in the episode, they made it seem like I was in the beginning, but in reality, I was last. Like I told the production on hand, like, you guys made me come in like really early. Like I was one of the first to walk in. I had a really long day, you know, and I'm like really nervous. Like I was really like literally about to pee my pants. I was like, I'm so nervous. Can I please go first? So in that way, I've just had it, you know, then I can just sit back, I can relax, and then it's just, you know, over. And they were like, no, you're last. So I was like, can we change that? Can I, you know, do something? They were like, no, you're last. And I was like, okay. So I just had to sit there. And the funny thing is that it took such a long time to film. You know, like Vanessa was in that cage. They had to build the cage, break the cage. Keita had like this like magic trick thing. They had to build it up, break it down again. Some girls, I will spare their names, but some girls had to redo their performance up to 3 times because something went wrong. And I just sat there. And to be honest, I was like, well, if they fuck up like 3 times, I'm going to be good. Because I saw literally like 2-3 queens like having to like redo it again for like a couple of times. I was like, oh. So then finally it was my turn. And I did feel supported by my queens and most of the queens of season 1. But I was so nervous. Like my whole body was so tinglish that I couldn't even feel it anymore. So people were like, oh, you know, she looked a bit this, she looked a bit that, you know. But the thing was, I was really so nervous. Like I've never had it before in my life. Like my body just started to tingle and I couldn't even like feel my body. It was like my body was like made out of stone, you know. So it was really hard for me to like come forward and do my thing. But I did do it once. Like I didn't do it like 2-3 times as some girls did. So I asked like the production, and everybody was like clapping and cheering for me. They were like, oh my God, you did so well. I was like, thank you. I was like, do you guys think that I need to do like another shot? You know, I feel like, you know, some girls had to do it a couple of times. It was like, can I redo it? You know, because I'm not sure if everything went well on camera. Can I do it like one more time just to be sure? They were like, no, we got everything. It was fine. I was like, okay.
Right. Okay. Shade.
A bit shade.
I think no, because I mean, what I was going to ask you was, so you know, I think you could tell you were a bit nervous, but that's kind of to be expected given that you hadn't really done anything like that before. But I thought actually the song was really cool, and the idea was really good, and you looked stunning, obviously. So what I was always curious about was, did you do it more than once? And you were just one time, whereas everyone else had to do it 3 times to get to that level.
Yeah, and I was like, even like when judging, like they give you so much more commentary than that they show. You know, it's like not even a minute of commentary, but in reality, like they take like good time to like critique you. And I even said like, I remember saying like, yeah, but you know, I did it in one time. All those like experienced girls had to do it like up to a couple of times. I was like, don't you think that is like, you know, the credit worthy? And they were just like, so I was like, all right.
So
guess I'll just go home. Bye.
So do you wish you had, I guess, done it more than once then?
Yeah, if I could have done it again, I would have done it like 5 times to be like, make sure you choose the best one.
Yeah, and so I mean, because the thing also was they had the season 1 girls to the side, and also obviously your fellow season 2 girls behind. And during your performance, even though they showed it near the beginning, you said you did it at the end. But when you look back on it, all of the season 1 girls pretty much were like living for it. They were like cheering way more than some of the others, and they were like holding up the signs and stuff. So did you think that you were going to be like quite highly placed?
I didn't think I was going to be highly placed. Also because even in the workroom, like production will like ask you certain questions. And they were all like a bit shady questions towards me. So I could feel a little bit of, you know, pushing towards me. It was like, sense like the energy of like me going home, simply because, you know, certain questions that they ask, and they were like, oh, who do you guys think that should go home first? And like a person would say like, oh, I think Ivy should go home. Oh, I think, you know, she should go home. And as soon as like somebody said like, oh, I think Juicy should go home, they were like, Juicy, how does that make you feel? And I was like, girl, it's so obvious like that I'm gonna go home. But you know, I'm not saying that it was because I did you know, that it wasn't like all my fault. Of course my performance wasn't the best one. It was actually one of the worst ones. But you know, I was like, this is all, you know, a bit obvious for me. So for me, I was just like, you know, there's a 99% chance that you're gonna be in the bottom.
Yeah, and so obviously, unfortunately, you were in the bottom. So did you agree with that in the moment, or did you think that wasn't, you know? the right decision?
I don't know. Like when you look at the episode, like I didn't see like the fucking like right before I had to perform. I think like I made the hole in my armpit, you know, and you could see that, you know, it didn't look as polished as I would love it to be. Same for like my wig and everything. But given it that it was literally my first time ever doing it, and I did it in once, I was really proud of myself. And considering some girls who were like saying that they were ready and they've been performing and they had all this experience, they had to redo it a couple of times. So you know, it was a bit of a 50-50 for me. I was like, yeah, did I expect myself to be in the bottom? I was like, yeah, but you could like take it two ways. You could say like, oh, this is like, you know, so good for you that you never did it before and you did it only once. But, you know, they were like,
Yeah, because even the girls during Untucked, I think Reggie B and some of the others even made a point of saying like...
Het is echt, sorry dat ik dit zeg, zo fucked up aan dit spel vind, is dat wij komen hier terug en we were dying for Juicy, toch?
Ja.
Los van dat we trots op je zijn dat je dit als eerste keer hier doet.
yeah.
Dus daarom begreep ik niet zo waarom jij dat commentaar kreeg.
Yeah, and also because, you know, what they of course didn't see is that I did it in once and a couple of girls had to do it a couple of times, you know? So they were like, you know, I think she is going to be in the bottom because we've been experienced artists and we had to redo it. Like we took some missteps. I think like even somebody tripped during an act, you know? So they were like, it's going to be rough around the edges for me, but you did it in one time with a really funny song. So we think you're going to be fine. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be fine.
Oh, that sucks. But I mean, at least you know that you did it in one time. And for someone who's not performed before, that's amazing compared to some of the other girls.
I sometimes still think about it and I'm like, I did that.
You should. That's amazing. So many other people auditioned to be on that show and you got the space. So, you know.
Yeah, I did feel like a little bit guilty for like some girls who weren't cast on, you know, my season and they absolutely deserve to be on the show. And it was a bit like, I'm sorry, like...
I'm sorry I'm this beautiful and they wanted me.
Sorry, I was too beautiful.
So that sort of brings me on to a question. So obviously, I think the theme of the episode, they were trying to push this storyline that you were the social media queen and therefore didn't have as much experience as some of the others. Yeah. So what do you think about the whole social media queens? You know, is it true that they don't have the performance experience and therefore are not going to do as well? Or do you think that's not true?
You know, I do think in general, like also talking about myself, like I'm always honest with myself. And I think me and a lot of other like social media queens, like of course, doing makeup, hair, wigs, outfits is really different than, you know, performing on stage and moving your body, making sure that what you express comes off to the judges and to everyone that you perform to. So it's really two different things. And if you're really used to like having like all these compliments online, like people like commenting like, oh, how good and how gorgeous you are and whatnot. And then, you know, having like a 360 in real life, or like people can see your like full body, they can see your waist, your padding, the way you walk, the way you dance, the way you act, you know, it's a whole different type of thing. They are really two different things. Like on social media, you are like, don't want to say just, but you are just, you know, showing your beauty and your looks, but performing and being a performer really is like a different thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. So I mean, that's still amazing that you were able to do what you did, given that was your first gig, right?
Yeah, I did like a live stream for like this festival, but the only thing that I had to do was like shake cocktails in the background. So, you know, but this really was my first time, you know, actually being on a stage.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive just in itself.
It is.
So obviously, so then you do the talent show and then obviously it's time for the runway. So what did it feel like your first time walking the runway?
Oh my God, I had such a terrible experience because they have this like choreographer.
Okay.
So hard for me to pronounce it in English, but choreographer. And like they make like they decide like the way you walk, the way you have to do. And I was like, I really didn't feel like they were getting what type of queen I was, because the guy was like, yeah, you really have to be like sexy and what, like don't make it too funny because you're not a like, you know, more comedy. I was like, well, I'm actually, a funny person. I think I can show it off. And also, like, my feet got so like sweaty that I kept like slipping out of that heel. So I was like making these small steps on the runway because my heel kept like falling off, So people were like, oh, she's not doing this or that. I was like, yeah, I know, but my heel like kept falling off. Like, no matter how many cotton pads I put into that fucking heel, like the odds were against me. It just kept like fucking falling off. And I was like, stop.
That makes so much sense though, because I think Fred during his critique said something about, oh, well, she can't walk in heels or something like that. And I always thought, well, it must be so, I mean, I can barely walk in normal shoes, right? Let alone heels with lights, heat, studio lights and everything. That must be crazy.
Yeah, it was. It really was, yeah. And actually, like, the critiques, like, not from Fred, but like from some other judges, were so much harder in real life. Like, I really stood there and I was like, okay. So I really stood there with a straight face and I was like, thank you for your feedback. Yeah, but of course, I don't think that I'm like allowed to say like whatever they said there, but I think like some of the comments that a certain judge made were like so hurtful and not like not helping me to become like a better queen. So for example, like Fred really gave me like honest and nice advice. Like even after the show, we talked a bit backstage and, just gave me a really genuine advice that could help me further to, like become a more fierce drag queen. But, some of the comments that some judges made like were just mean. And I was like, oh, I was like, I think you guys are here to like critique me and to help me out. And I really felt like a certain judge was like trying to like tear me down a little bit. I was like, this is not, helping me to become a better queen. But I was like, thank you for your feedback. I'm gonna work on it and I hope to amaze you next time. But in my head I was like, gosh, you're so mean.
No, I mean, that's a very mature attitude to have because I guess the judges have to strike a balance between sort of giving critiques and sort of being like drama because they want good TV, but there's no need to like tear someone.
The drama. I was so scared that they would that they were like gonna air the critiques that the judge gave me. I was literally like, oh my god. When we were about to watch the first episode, I was like, ooh, I really hope that they cut out those really mean like judgment comments because that was gonna be like a smack in the face for me. So I'm really glad that they didn't do me dirty in the editing.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you think you had a good edit then?
It could have been better, but I'm definitely happy with the edit that I got. Yeah.
Great. No, I mean, that's always good. So obviously then, unfortunately, you fall in the bottom with Reggie B and you do a lip sync to Dua Lipa, Physical. Yeah. So one thing I was going to ask is, I read online that apparently you threw a cocktail glass at Fred during the lip sync.
It's this one. It didn't break. Well, it's true. It's true. I'd have to say it's true. I didn't intend to, like, I honestly really didn't intend for the glass to like land over there. But they cut my lip sync a little bit weird because like in this lip sync you have like da 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 ba da ba ba come on love is and right on that bam moment like I threw the glass like away to be like fuck off this glass, I'm gonna dance my ass off. And I saw that the glass like during my lip sync I saw that the glass like literally landed like behind like the Drag Race logo. I was like, that was a bit close. And I even remember like Fred's face being like, and I was like, they're gonna be so mad that I threw like a glass at them. But I didn't intend for the glass to be, to be there. And I actually like filled up the glass with like drinks from Untucked. Like the Untucked drink, like I really filled the glass with liquid. So it was like splattering like all over the stage, like, whew. And I was like, ooh, that's going to be a good TV moment. But for some reason, they edited it out. I asked them and they were like, yeah, we couldn't capture it well enough on camera. I was like, okay. But it was really unfortunate that it was edited out. But I really didn't intend to like throw a glass at someone or like physically hurt somebody.
No, I when I read that, I was like, is it a real glass or a plastic one?
Plastic one.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it wasn't like you were throwing an actual glass.
No. Of course, I just had it in my hands. It's plastic. It didn't even break. So
yeah, that's a shame because I read that and I was like, that would have been like an epic moment and everything. So
I was so sad that they edited that out.
I can imagine. But one thing they didn't edit out, which I thought was like the gag of the lip sync, was right near the end, you sort of walk off stage and then come back and you do a sort of knee slide.
Yeah.
And then when you get up at the end of the lip sync, it turns out that was it the stones in your tights had like basically made your knees bleed?
To be honest, I really didn't know what happened because until they said it to me, I didn't even know that was happening. Like I had so much adrenaline and nerves, and I looked at my knee and I was like, oh my God, it was just like rhinestones, like really like pressed into my skin, you know, like you saw the zoom in, like all my tights were like ripped open and you could really see like the diamonds like in my skin. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Was that, I mean, but did you feel like, was it painful or anything?
No, I didn't feel anything at all. They were like, are you doing all right? And I looked at my knee and I was like, oh, I didn't even notice it. But they did take me to, is it called like first aid?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was like, oh, lay your leg like this, and we need to like take all the diamonds out. So she had to like pick all the diamonds out with like a tweezer. And I was like, girl, I was like, just give me the cotton pad, and I really just like shoved it off, and I was like, throw some alcohol on it, disinfect it, and call it a day.
I mean, that sounds like a very glamorous, having to take diamonds out of your knees, darling.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, that's the first time ever.
Yeah, because then also Fred made a comment, said...
En Juicy, je hebt het begrip blood diamonds wel een hele andere dimensie.
Precies, meid.
Er zit een diamant in je knie nu.
Dat noem ik nou Glamour Hospital.
Which I thought was really funny. Like, that's a really funny comment for you to sort of come up with on the spot.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I can do is like come up with like funny things like on the spot. I also gave a lot of my reads for the reading challenge to other girls.
Oh.
So that's why I think it was so funny all of a sudden.
The shade. Wow, that's so cool though. So when you were watching the reading challenge, you heard some of your reads by other girls.
Yeah, I did actually, yeah.
Then obviously you are the comedy queen.
Right. So I was like, it's such a shame that they like didn't let me do a like a reading challenge because I would have been so good at it.
I was thinking that as well because I thought you were so funny on the episode because your exit line was one of the best. Like you walked off and you basically like made a joke about Fred's hairline.
Normaal zeg ik bonjour, maar vandaag zeg ik au revoir. En Fred, met zo'n groot voorhoofd heb je met elke wig een hoge haarlijn.
I thought that was really funny. And then I think at the finale episode, you also sort of joked with Fred and he laughed.
Juicy Kutoure!
Bonjour, bonjour.
Je was de eerste afvaller.
Klopt.
Hoe was het voor je?
Om eerlijk te zijn, eenmaal toen ik thuis was, maakte het me echt geen rattenreet meer uit. Ook jullie maken verkeerde keuzes.
What's your relationship like with Fred?
I think quite good actually. Yeah, he also like sent me a message like after the show. He was like, I'm so proud of you. I see nothing but positive thoughts, positive things. Keep up the good spirit, and And whenever there's something that I need to ask him, we can always ask, and he will like just be friendly and reply to us. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, because I mean, I've heard from other girls on the other seasons that he's quite sort of down to earth and talks to the people a lot and stuff. And it's not quite like on the other seasons where there's a very big distinction between judges and contestants.
No, I really didn't feel like that at all. I feel like the same, but like I feel, it's the Netherlands, like everybody knows each other already, and I feel like we have like good respect for each other. And even after the show, I got like dressed down, and me and Tabitha were walking backstage, and we passed the dressing room of like Fred, and Envy was there as well, and we just had like a small talk about everything. And I was like, it's just, at the end of the day, it's a TV show, so
yeah. And so obviously, you finished the lip sync. Did you know, like, how did you think the lip sync went? Did you think you were going home, or what did you think?
I knew that I was gonna go home because I had the lip sync against Reggie, and she's like such a good performer. But the second that I knew I was in the bottom with her, I just smiled, and I had to like hold in my laugh. And Reggie was like, "What's going on with you?" And I was like, "I know I'm gonna go home, so I'm just gonna give it my all." And I'm so happy that I get to do this lip sync with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think you did really well in the lip sync. And obviously, you had the iconic moment of the blood diamond knees.
Yeah.
And so obviously, yeah. So you unfortunately sashay away that episode. I also read a rumor online that apparently after your elimination, you went to IKEA.
Yes, I did. I came home, and it was like a nice sunny day. And like they drop you off at home, and I already lived together with my best friend. And she was like, "Oh my God, you're home already?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm off. Like, I'm the first one to go off." She was like, "Fuck." And she was like, "I'm going to IKEA." I was like, "Yeah, I'll just take a shower and go with you." So yeah, and then like people spotted me, and they were like, "Oh, Juicy is spotted at IKEA." And I was like, "Oh." I didn't like even realize it. I was like, giving away that I was out, first. I was just like shopping at IKEA. I did feel like a celebrity, where they were like, "Oh God, she's spotted there and there. Let's get like a candid shot of her."
That's so funny that you went from Drag Race to IKEA.
Yeah, like I might even have like some residue of like glue, like lash glue stuck on my face, and I was like, let's get some nice cutlery.
So you can serve it to the children.
Yes, so I can feed my children.
Yeah, because I always wondered when you would get eliminated, like anyone gets eliminated, because they always say, you're going home. But I always wondered, do you actually go home, or do you have to stay in the hotel until the end of filming?
You have to stay in the hotel until they film the confessionals.
Right.
Yeah. Because they want you like... What?
When does that happen, the confessional filming?
The next day.
Right, okay.
So they film like an episode, which takes like 2-3 days. And then one day after that, they take the confessionals.
Right, and I assume the confessionals they do a confessional after every episode.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because I always wondered that, because I think they always make you wear the same outfit so that you can't tell when they take the on. Mm-hmm. And when you were filming the confessionals, did that feel really cool? Because you was like, obviously the drag race backdrop and everything.
Yeah, I even asked the production, like, "Can I take a picture of me with this background?" I was like, "I promise I don't post it. I'll just keep this for myself." And they were like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, because I think that's the moment you must feel like, "Oh my God, I'm really here, and this is like..."
Yeah, and I really I really imagine like my confessional look. I was like, "Oh, let's do like a pink sequin and pink hair and like nice like glowy makeup." Some girls were like, "Oh, this is my confessional outfit, I think." And I was like, "This is gonna be my confessional outfit." It was like a look for me as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could tell that you were like head to toe perfection. Like you had thought about this. This was no accident. Like
no, it wasn't. No, it was not an accident at all.
I woke up like this. That's what you should say.
I woke up pink.
So the name of my channel is Drag Tea Served. So I was just wondering if you could serve us some tea and tell us anything like interesting that happened on the show, behind the scenes, that got cut that you wish had been shown, or just something interesting.
I've already gave you the tea about, the talent show and everything. Let me think. I think what they don't show you is like actually also like how much fun everyone has like behind the scenes. Like it's like really low key, and we could like really laugh with the judges, and also during the critiques, like it was just like, having fun. And we sometimes like, swear a little bit and we make a joke with each other, but of course they have to like cut everything out. Yeah. And what's like, some other tea? Oh, maybe one thing that was like a little bit of a disappointment to me was when they give you like the lipstick to write a mirror message. It was literally, it's like a Dutch brand, but it was literally like the cheapest Dutch brand lipstick that they could find. I was like, at least do like a MAC lipstick, not this like €4 red fucking lipstick from the dollar store, So I really looked at it and I was like, is this the RuPaul's Drag Race like iconic red lipstick? It was like a $4 Party City lipstick.
I mean, not for Juicy Kutoure, no. You want MAC.
No, I was like, this doesn't touch my mouth.
And so, obviously, your drag entrance and also your sign-off, you call yourself, you said, like, bonjour, bonjour, Juicy Kutoure, like your favourite whore or something, and it rhymes in English as well, so it works. And then for your mirror message, you wrote, what was it? You wrote something like, in Dutch or...
Oh my God, I don't even remember. I think I said some...
Stinkhor or something?
What did I say? I said something in the ways of like, love everyone, XO Juicy Stinkhor, which means like filthy whore.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, by the way, don't forget, post bitch.
Yes, I mean that song was iconic, and it's so catchy.
Bonjour, bonjour, Juicy Kutoure.
Is posing a talent?
Yes, I'm 100% convinced that it is a talent.
Yeah, when you look this good. Yeah, so. After, obviously, unfortunately, you leave in the first episode, so you didn't actually get a chance to wear all of the clothes and everything. But I loved that you posted your outfit, which looked stunning, by the way, on Instagram. Which outfit were you most excited that you wanted to show that you didn't?
Oh my God, it's hard. I think the most excited, I think I was for like the one that I wore in the episode because of like the nice butterfly wings. But I was also very excited to wear my statement on a runway, which was like this porcelain corset with this rainbow cape, because I really wanted to make a statement. Of course, like it was statements on the runway, but I really wanted to make my statement. And I was also really excited to do like the opposites attract look, because I'm a Aquarius in sun and a Leo in my moon. So I was like, I'm very excited to show like this different, side of me.
Yeah, I loved that one. Was stunning. The blue and the orange. I loved that one. That's really nice.
Thank you.
So what have you been up to since Drag Race?
Oh my God, after Drag Race, I did really feel like I was gonna take a break for a second. I was like, oh, I don't understand these girls, like take a break. Like it's your time to like push through. But even if I was just like one episode, I was like, oh, I need a break. So I took a little bit of a break. And besides drag, I work as a brow stylist and as a makeup artist. So I just got, to spend some time on doing that. I gave a lot of drag makeup workshops. I did perform at one of my favorite venues ever, which is a club Nix in Amsterdam. If you're ever in Amsterdam, please go there. It's like the #1 spot for me. And what's up now is I'm going to perform in Gran Canaria in April. And I might even, it's not 100% sure yet, but I might even come to the UK in the summer. Wow, so I don't really, like to perform, like do like a bingo at a bar, just like fuck off. I don't feel like doing that. If they ask you to like perform at like Gran Canaria or the UK, I'm like, Juicy can come. I can come, babe.
I'll talk to my people.
I can come.
Please do come. Let me know if you come to the UK. I'd love to see a Juicy.
I will.
And if someone came to a Juicy show, what would they expect to see?
A lot of femininity, sexiness, fierceness, but also I think a lot of fun and just a reminder to not take yourself too serious.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you on the show showed that you're actually like really funny. You had some really funny lines. Is comedy something that you've ever sort of done or thought about incorporating into your act?
I would love to. I think it's like really hard to like see how I can like incorporate it because I come up with things like really on the spot. Like, you know, like when you interview me or like ask me a question or like even talk to me, like I will come up with things like very easily. But like maybe during performing, like I can do like some funny phases or whatever. But I definitely like have been thinking about like how can I incorporate like, you know, my personality more into my performances. But I think it's also a bit in the way that you perform and like the songs that you choose. So I'm gonna be spending some time on that and see what I can do. So when I'm like in Gran Canaria or in the UK, I can show off my good ass personality.
And the stunning looks, obviously, and posing.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get on to some questions from my subscribers, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
I had quite a lot of questions, so I had to sort of condense them down. So it was quite a few like similar questions and everything. So I picked out some of the popular ones.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what were your thoughts on the Vivaldi situation and should she have been eliminated?
Ik had een illegale telefoon bij mij. En ik ga mij niet verschuilen achter excuses. Ik weet dat het niet mocht.
My thoughts, you know, personally, if I was there, I'm gonna be like, girl, I get it. If I was able to, you know, have my phone over there, I would have done the exact same. I'm a social media queen after all. Did I think that she should go home? Yeah, maybe. You know, for me personally, I wouldn't feel like that bothered by it. But, you know, those are the rules of the game. So I definitely feel like she should go home. On the other hand, I think that we should not forget that Vanessa actually like told a secret, you know?
Ga je het zeggen, Vanessa, of ga je het niet zeggen? Ga je het zeggen of niet zeggen? Alles hangt af van zijn arrogantie.
Ja? Gaan we het hebben over de telefoon? Wil je het hebben over de telefoon dat je hebt weggestopt? Nee, weet ervan niet. Wie is dan de eerlijke, ik of jij?
Like she spilled somebody's secret. Like Vivaldi trusted Vanessa to not say anything about it, but she did speak up about it. And I think a lot of people like kind of forgot about that. You know, I was like, that's, you know, not okay either. So, you know, a story always has like both sides. And I think literally like both of them were in the wrong. Like Vivaldi should have been like more patient with Vanessa. You know, everybody's on, you know, high tension and everything. And she's younger than me. And she should have snapped at Vanessa in the first place. But on the other hand, I feel like Vanessa is a grown and beautiful and mature woman. And she shouldn't let, you know, her emotions like get ahead of her.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, that was like obviously one of the biggest gags of the season. That I mean, I don't think that's ever really happened before on any Drag Race.
No, not really. And you know what it was like also like really funny to me is that during like the judges' deliberation, they were like, and I felt so bothered. They were like, "Yeah, Vivaldi, you know, she's allowed to make a mistake. You know, she's young." And I was like, so when I made a mistake, because it's my first time and I'm a young queen, then it wasn't, you know, it couldn't, you know, it wasn't like that. But when Vivaldi made a mistake, they were like, yeah, she's just young. She's allowed to make a mistake. So I was like, so when I'm nervous, is that my mistake? And you send me home? But a girl that has her phone intentionally with her is a mistake. She was like, that was like me being nervous wasn't intentional. Like her taking her phone was intentional, you know. Not that I was like bothered by Vivaldi or Vanessa. Like I love them both, but I was a bit bothered by the judges' commentary. It was like, it's kind of like, you know, they were taking parts a bit. I was like, all right then, I see how it is.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very weird situation because obviously, I think the whole thing about her being young, I didn't really see that because you.
What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with it?
You're the third youngest of the cast. I think it's you, Vivaldi, and the Countess are the three youngest, and you're not that different in age.
No, I think we all have like the same age, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, that's not really a thing.
It's not really a thing, no.
Oh well, she didn't get disqualified anyway. But were you surprised that she got into the top three, or did you sort of peg her as being a top three person?
From the first episode on, I knew she was gonna be high. Same with Vanessa. It was funny. I was like, who else was in the top three? I did expect Vitality to be in top three, definitely.
Yeah. And what did you say? And one of the other questions from the Scrubbers was, what did you think of Vanessa as the winner? Were you sort of, expecting that, or would you have?
I always trust my gut feeling, and I didn't know like Vanessa before the show, but we've had a really good time during filming. And I already said to her, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I trust my gut feeling. My gut feeling is always right, and I can tell that you are going to win. She was like, shut up. She was like, you never know. I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I knew that I was gonna go home first, and I knew that she was going to win, looking at the whole season, I did felt really like unsure about, Kate's having to leave over one small, over one bad look. Like the judging in general was just a bit off on our season, but Vanessa is a true winner. And she's really like inspirational, and I feel really good when I spend time with her. So she does really deserve the title, and she has a story to tell. So yeah.
Yeah, no, she was amazing throughout, and like you said, the representation she brings is amazing as well.
Yeah.
Another question was, how much did you spend on your outfits for the competition?
Well, I didn't end up spending so much, actually. Most of my outfits were made by a friend, actually an old colleague of mine. I used to work at a fashion brand, like a designer brand, at their head office, and I would do like graphic design and everything, and he would design the clothes. So he designed most of my clothes, and I just paid for the fabrics, and he made them for me. And the whole time, like even during like sewing and everything, I was like, how much do I owe you? And he was like, we're gonna be fine, we'll make it up after the show. So I was like, okay. I was gonna be scared, I was like, oh, he's gonna say like 20k, 30k or something. So when I got off the show, I was like, so what, like how much money do you get from me? And he was like, you're a friend of mine, it's fine like this. And I was like, oh my god, you just blessed me so hard, because I know that a lot of girls spend like 10, 20, maybe even like 30k on their stuff. So yeah, but I did up spending like a lot of my money still, because I had to buy wigs, heels. I was a social media queen. I didn't have like 40 pair of heels, so I had to really buy the basics.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was going to ask, did you design the clothes? Like, do you sew, or did you get them made for you?
Everything was made for me. I did have like an idea and some sketches, and I just gave it to him, and he was like, okay, we're gonna make this and this out of it. So yeah, that's how it went.
So how do you think you would have been in the sewing challenge then, if you'd stayed?
Oh my god. For I have to say, maybe I was glad I was the first off, because I took some sewing lessons, but for some reason it just really didn't stuck to me at all. Like, I've tried it many times, and I did have like some patterns with me, and I was like, if there's gonna be a sewing challenge, I'm just gonna do the patterns and like kind of like zhuzh up the dress a little bit, so maybe I could have gonna like get away with it, because like those sewing challenge outfits that they made were terrible. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but not that could have done it better, but those outfits were terrible. So I don't know how I would do, but on the other hand, like they didn't do great either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the hardest challenges is sewing, because.
But also, like the materials that they gave my girls, like they were messing with my girls. It's like, you're gonna give her girl like a crocodile, like a tent. I was like, You're not making it easy on them.
No. Yeah, not that I can sew or do drag or anything, but if the one challenge I would never be able to do would be sewing, because I can't even look at a sewing machine, let alone actually use one.
You get me?
It's much more glamorous to have your clothes designed for you.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like it's so nice when you can like just design everything yourself, you know? And I really liked, picking out the fabrics and, fitting it through. So I did think about like, oh, should I get like a sewing machine and like get everything done? But on the other hand, I'm like, I'm so busy, I don't have the time to develop another craft.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you can sew, great. But if you can't, I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to learn that in a month or something.
Yeah.
So another question I had from a subscriber was, what are your ultimate ambitions for drag and where would you like it to take you?
That's a good one. When I was younger, I always used to be like, oh, I want to, do this, do that. But with drag, I'm just like, I'll just see whatever comes my way. As I said before, like I work as a brow stylist and a makeup artist as well. And it's going really well with that, actually. So I'm happy that I'm like running 3 successful businesses. But I would love my drags. Like it was like a secret dream of mine to like take me to a different country. And now that I'm like going to perform in Spain and like maybe even the UK, I'm just like, oh my God, it's actually such a dream come true. And I feel so happy that clubs like reach out to me to like ask me to perform over there. So that's really nice. And I get to spend like a lot of good time in there. Actually Megan lives in Gran Canaria now. So I'm going to visit her as well when I'm there. So I'm traveling different countries, like, and I'm basically like a man in a wig with like good makeup. Like that's crazy.
Great makeup. That leads on to another question: was how has your career been affected since being on Drag Race?
Initially, I wouldn't say like, oh, it's not, that much. But on the other hand, like I did get, a lot of followers. And I think like if I wasn't on Drag Race, they would never like reach out to me from the UK or from Spain. So I definitely think that I have to thank Drag Race for that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such a huge platform, and I think that's amazing for someone, especially someone who hadn't been doing it for very long.
Yeah, for me, like, there was also a thing, like, for example, some girls were in the bottom, a couple of times or numbers of times, or in every episode that they were in. And I was like, ooh, that could be like a bit more hurtful to their brand, because when you look like at, for example, Ivy, she is of course, drag sister with Envy and Abby, and they were both in the finale. So she had a lot to live up to, so it's really easy for her to, have like her face fallen off. I don't know if that's like an English saying, but in Dutch it is.
Yeah.
So, it's like easy for her to disappoint herself because she is being held on such a high standard, People of me like had a really low standard. So it was really hard for me to like, disappoint because people didn't know me. And, a lot of people knew Ivy, like knew Vivaldi, knew the Countess Keita, so they had, even Vanessa, they had a lot to live up to. So I think it must be like really nerve-wracking for them as well.
Yeah, it's easier if you go in with less expectations in a way.
Yeah.
One of the other questions was, if you had stayed in the competition, if you'd won the lip sync, looking at the challenges that there were, how do you think you would have done in the competition?
I think I would have been like so good at Snatch Game, as photo shoots, acting challenges, like anything besides a talent show and a sewing challenge.
So if the talent show and the sewing challenge were like the last challenges and all the others were 4, you think perhaps you would have stayed a bit longer?
Yeah, I do think so, because I'm a good actor. I think I can act very well, and I'm funny, and I'm like really easy with like letting go of like a personality. I'm not like, oh, I have to be perfect, I have to be this, I have to be that. I'm like, I don't have to be anything, So I don't have like an inner like mask or saboteur telling me like, oh, you have to be this or that way. Like I'm just gonna like completely let go and be free. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you clearly didn't get to show so much, and like you said, you're really funny, and like all of this personality. We didn't really get to see any of that on the show, which is a shame. One question someone asked is, will we be getting more music?
I've been getting that question a lot, but I don't know. I don't know really. Like, to give an honest answer, I'm like, there goes a lot of time and effort into making a song, and I'm like, if I'm going to perform, I want like people to like sing along with me, so maybe if I'll do it, I'll make an English song, but I have to disappoint, it's not on my agenda right now. No,
that's fine. I mean, you've got so many other things happening, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those were some of the questions, but thank you for answering those. And so I'd like to finish off by doing a little quick fire game. So really quick answers, just like little silly questions. Some of them are drag related, some of them are not. Just to see your answers and get to know you a little bit.
I'm ready.
So first question is, lipstick or lip gloss?
Gloss.
Yes or no, pineapple on pizza?
No.
Favorite emoji?
I think my favorite one is like it's like a new one. I feel like I have to reply fast. It's like this emoji with like the tear, one he does like there's like one tear. You know which one I mean? Like put it up, edit it in the screen,
Yeah.
That one.
The dramatic tear.
The dramatic tear one, yeah.
Cocktail or champagne?
Cocktail.
And so the last one, summarize your experience on Drag Race in one word.
Nerve-wracking.
Thank you very much. You did very well.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much for appearing on my channel. It's been amazing having you on. I'm sure people got to see so much more of you than they saw on Drag Race. Where can people find you? Where do you want people to go? Social media, website, what's.
Find me in real life and give me money. No. My Instagram is at Juicy Kutoure. That's like my only social media platform that I'll ever use is Instagram. So you can only find me there. So don't miss it. Yes, with gorgeous photos almost every week. Hello.
And where do you work mostly? If people are living in Amsterdam or in the area, where would they come to see a Juicy show?
Club Nix for sure, or I'm gonna do something at Taboo Bar as well.
Great.
So
well, we look forward to that. Thank you so much. It's been amazing talking to you, and I wish you all the success, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in the UK soon.
I hope so as well. I'm gonna let you know as soon as I know more.
Great. Thank you so much, Juicy.
No worries. Au revoir.
Au revoir.